If you're just joining us, I'm Bobby Bones, and this is the iHeartCountry album release party for Zac Brown Band's new album, The Comeback. It is out now, and we have a lot of fans that are hanging out with us right now. I want to go over and talk to a few of them. I'm going to talk to Drake first. Drake, I know you're out there.
My question is, what is the hardest part of songwriting?
Man, the hardest part, well, I would say a two-part answer. The hardest part, first of all, is when you sit down and you're like, okay, what are we going to write about? It's that blank canvas, like looking at that blank abyss. Like the hardest thing is really just getting that initial direction. Like, what are we doing? Is it based off, something that I heard or something I woke up in the middle of the night with, or the other guys had an idea and we sit down and we start crafting it that way. So the initial conception is really hard. And once that happens, then to me, it's pretty easy to dive in there and do it. The second thing is getting every single line of the song where it's serving the song poetically and it's not like mailing anything in, because sometimes the first thing that you think of is okay and it works, but a lot of times it's not. And when you collaborate and you write with other people, you all sit down and agree. You have to have no ego about it. And when the best idea pops up, everyone knows it. Everyone will agree. But until then, you kind of have to say, okay, well, let's see if we can beat that. It's all about positivity. It's about how we can encourage each other to remain creative until we find the absolute best for that specific line. And in the song, collectively, when all the lines are done, some songs have taken me 11 years to finish. Goodbye in Our Eyes took me 11 years to finish that song, because there was 2 lines missing that weren't right yet. So I don't ever want to push them out the door until they're ready, and I don't ever want to I can tell when writers just stuff a line in there that rhymes. It doesn't say anything, doesn't mean anything. It's just stuffed in there. So we try not to put any filler in our songs. And that's a good question.
Over to Drew. What do you want to ask Zac Brown?
Yes, my question is, with all the awesome people you've got to perform with, who are you most excited to get to collaborate with or to play with?
So since I was probably 7 years old, I started listening to James Taylor. And the way he wrote guitar, the way he played on guitar, and the way it moved underneath his songs, I was a student to that from a very early age. So when I got a little bit older and we had enough recognition to try to get in touch with James Taylor, we ended up doing Colder Weather with James Taylor on one of the shows, live, one of the broadcast shows. And that was the craziest thing in the world to me. That's like getting to go on a crime fight with Batman or something. Like, as a kid, what that, music means so much to me. I'm a music fan first. I'm not just an artist. Like, I really love music. And so that music meant so much to me when we got to perform with James Taylor. To me, that was the most giant accolade. But since then, we've collaborated with a lot of people, man. And what I found is the best people, the best artists, they're also the best humans too. They're really fun and kind of everything you want them to be. So getting to rub elbows and be friends with like your heroes as a kid is that's the coolest thing for me about what we've gotten to do.
Let's do one more question from Brittany. Brittany, you're on with Zac Brown. What would you like to ask him?
Out of all the songs that you've written, which song has meant the most to you and why?
The Man Who Loves You the Most, the one that we wrote during quarantine, that I wrote for my daughters. That song is really hard for me to make it through, like singing live, If I think about them, if I picture one of them when I'm singing the song, it's over. I'm going to have a line where I'm like, you start that noise you make when you ugly cry, and it doesn't fit it doesn't work for the song. But that one, every once in a while, songs like My Old Man, thinking about my dad and the dads that didn't have to be, dads to me, but that were, those things are so real. Like I can't, you have to think grandma baseball, while you're getting through those things. But Man Who Loves You the Most is definitely the one that destroys me. And I've seen it other people. I've seen the burliest of men that have daughters I just see them start leaking. So that's the one. Good question.
Nikki, what would you like to ask Zac?
Hi, good morning. I had a question that somebody else kind of touched upon, but one other thing I really wanted to know is if you in general had a favorite venue or like moment on stage, a place that you really love to go back to every year.
I think playing at Fenway Park in Boston is my favorite place to play. It's the energy of the crowd. It's how they've kept that place feeling exactly like it did, you know, when it was built. It's big, but it doesn't feel big. You know, I feel like sometimes when you play in a football stadium, the sound travels so far that people don't get the right experience. They can't hear everything like they can. But I feel like Fenway is as big as you can get with it still feeling intimate. And then in just like, I mean, baseball, there's nothing more American than baseball. And it's the most preserved baseball park that there is. And the whole city gets behind us when we come there to play. I mean, even so much that, I mean, the Red Sox gave me a World Series ring when they won the World Series. So I got the legit World Series ring. Wow. I just sit and look at it sometimes. It's crazy. But that's definitely my favorite. There's a lot of other ones. I love coming to so many places. The hospitality in Guilford, New Hampshire is the best of anywhere. The Gorge is a beautiful place to play. Of course, Red Rocks. There's a lot of places, but Fenway is the top for me.
Kimberly, you're on with Zach. What would you like to ask him?
Nikki actually did just take my question about favorite venue. And then my backup question was your favorite band or performer, and you actually answered that also. So are you a cowboy? Because my daughter keeps pointing to you and saying cowboy.
Cowboy. No, I wouldn't say that I'm a cowboy. I do like to ride. And I love being out west in big sky country as well. But I know some real cowboys, and no, I'm definitely not a cowboy. She's precious, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah, cowboy. That's right. You're talking about me, probably.
Yeah.
That's I look like such a cowboy,
that's
probably.
you.
That's what it is. Got a couple more fans that want to ask a question. Anna, you're on with Zac Brown. What do you want to say?
Hey there. What is your favorite part about performing live?
My favorite part about performing live is getting to connect with the fans, getting to see them eye to eye. Because, I mean, you think about it, I've worked my whole life to be able to get up on stage and play. But if it's just me, it's completely worthless. So without having our fans there and our crew, everybody that it takes to set all of that stuff up, to travel and get in and go through the traffic and the whole thing, like, my favorite part is when we can all align our voices together in one place. And, you know, if it's in the encore and you literally can see everyone in the building jumping up and down, or everyone's voices uniting, you know, that's one of the things. Music's so powerful. And I feel like, especially these times right now in our country where there's so much, you know, craziness going on, that we can be united. And to me, that's the America that I know. That's the how we can come together and share things like that together. And when everyone leaves where they feel a little bit better, you know, helps them through their day, the next week, or whatever it may be, in the memories that are made there. But my favorite part is that connection that I get, that energetic connection with all those people.
Lindsay, you're on with Zac Brown. What's your question?
So I was wondering if you have a favorite song that you want to be remembered by when people think of your band.
Wow, that's a good question. You know, I would say, if I look back at all the songs we've written, if an alien came down and was like, play me one song, or something to be remembered, you know, Colder Weather is probably still my favorite song that we've written until this new album. And so I would say in the past, that would be the one. Colder Weather would be the one, just because I still get that same feeling and excitement every time that we get to play it and perform it. But I tell you, man, we're bringing the heat on this new album. I mean, there's so many great songs on this album. It's going to be on the comeback. It's going to be hard to, you know, I may feel differently about that after this album cycle and people get to know it. But I know what Colder Weather does in the audience when I'm there with them. And so that would be the one for that specific question, I think.